Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. Something is boiling in Miami, and it's not just the summer heat. According to rumors swirling around the Dolphins training camp, star quarterback Tua Tagovailoa has reportedly requested an immediate trade following a fiery altercation with wide receiver TYREEK Hill during a recent closed-door practice. This alleged fallout has sent shockwaves across the NFL community, with insiders claiming that what began as a typical miscommunication on a routine play quickly escalated into a full-blown shouting match between the two offensive leaders. Eyewitnesses say the tension was palpable, and the energy in the room shifted dramatically once Tua slammed his helmet down and stormed off the field. While official sources from the Dolphins have remained tight-lipped about the situation, multiple beat reporters and team-adjacent sources have hinted that this wasn't just a one-time flare-up, but rather the tipping point of a long-standing tension between the two stars. The locker room dynamics may have been simmering for months, with quiet frustrations now reaching a boiling point under the unforgiving microscope of preseason preparations. Whether this is the result of competitive spirit personality clashes or deeper football philosophy disagreements, the Dolphins find themselves facing a sudden and dramatic crisis that could reshape their upcoming season before it even begins. Now, it's important to remember this is all developing information, and while no trade has been finalized or even officially confirmed as requested, multiple insiders insist that Tua Tagovailoa has informed at least one high-ranking Dolphins official of his desire to be moved. This comes as a stunning twist given the expectations entering this season. The Dolphins had been widely viewed as legitimate contenders in the AFC East, with Tagovailoa coming off his best statistical season and Hill continuing to dominate defenses as one of the most dangerous weapons in the league. However, football is as much about chemistry as it is about playmaking, and when the connection between a quarterback and his number one receiver frays, the consequences can be catastrophic. Whispers suggest the two stars have clashed before behind closed doors, but this latest blow-up was so intense that several teammates reportedly had to physically intervene to keep the situation from escalating further. As wild as it sounds, one insider described the altercation as emotional, loud, and completely unexpected. If accurate, this internal dysfunction couldn't come at a worse time as the team enters the critical phase of preseason where timing, unity, and morale are supposed to be peaking. Instead, the Dolphins find themselves caught in the eye of a brewing hurricane. Reports have varied slightly in describing what exactly triggered the altercation. Some claim that Tua became visibly frustrated with TYREEK during a red zone drill where the receiver allegedly ran the wrong route twice in a row, causing a misfire and nearly resulting in an interception. Others suggest TYREEK was the one who snapped first, expressing dissatisfaction with Tua's ball placement and decision-making throughout the practice session. Either way, the confrontation quickly moved from professional to personal, with both men reportedly exchanging sharp words in front of teammates and coaches. One source close to the situation claims Hill challenged Tua's leadership, publicly questioning whether he had the killer instinct to lead a Super Bowl run. That comment, if true, would certainly explain the quarterback's explosive reaction and subsequent decision to walk off practice. It's one thing to disagree on the field, but when character and leadership are called into question, the wounds can go far deeper. And while NFL teams often deal with heated moments in practice, rarely does it result in trade demands from a franchise quarterback. If this rumor is even half true, it signals a level of dysfunction that can derail an entire season. For Dolphins fans, this has to feel like deja vu all over again, just when it seemed like Miami had turned a corner and found its long-term quarterback chaos strikes. Tua Tagovailoa, drafted with high expectations, has battled through injuries, doubters, and coaching changes to become a central figure in Miami's offense. He's had the support of management, the coaching staff, and until now appeared to have a strong rapport with his offensive weapons, particularly Hill, who was instrumental in Tua's growth last season. But this rumored feud raises serious questions, not only about their relationship moving forward, but also about the stability of the entire team. If a rift this deep exists between QB1 and WR1, it could splinter the locker room. NFL teams are fragile ecosystems, And once trust is broken at the leadership level, it can create a ripple effect. The Dolphins front office now finds itself in an impossible position: appease the quarterback and potentially move a superstar receiver or side with Hill, and risk alienating the man who's supposed to lead the team for years to come either. Choice comes with massive consequences. Another layer to this drama is the timing. The Dolphins are only weeks away from kicking off the regular season, and this kind of internal turmoil couldn't have come at a worse moment. The team had spent the offseason fine-tuning their roster, installing a more aggressive offensive system, and positioning themselves to finally break through in the playoffs. Tua was supposed to be at the center of it all with Hill as his top playmaker. Now, with rumors of a trade request swirling, everything feels uncertain. If Tua truly wants out, who's stepping in to lead the offense? Is Mike White ready? Does the team pivot to a veteran free agent or scramble for a last-minute trade? The logistics and emotional fallout of losing your starting quarterback this close to the season is almost impossible to overstate. And let's not forget how public perception plays into this. Once these kinds of stories leak, they tend to gain momentum fast, and public scrutiny can amplify locker room tension. In today's social media-driven NFL, this kind of story doesn't just go away quietly. It becomes a narrative, and one the Dolphins might not be able to control. Still with us? Then show some love, hit that like button, and let us know in the comments what's your take on the Fins this week. From the outside looking in, one might wonder if there's more to this than just football. Could personal issues be at play here? Tua and TYREEK have vastly different personalities. Tua being more reserved and cerebral, while TYREEK thrives on energy and flair. That contrast can be a strength when channeled properly, but it can also lead to friction when things go sideways. Some insiders speculate that what we are seeing is not just a disagreement over routes or schemes, but a deeper disconnect in how both players see leadership and accountability. TYREEK is known to be vocal and intense during practices, pushing teammates hard and occasionally crossing lines in the name of competitiveness. Tua, on the other hand, prefers a more measured approach and may have felt disrespected by Hill's public critique. If their differences in temperament have created a rift, it's not something that will be solved with a simple team meeting or PR statement. It may require mediation at the highest level, or as rumors suggest, a dramatic parting of ways that could reshape the Dolphins' entire identity heading into 2025. There's also a growing belief among league executives that Tua's trade request, if true, may not be entirely reactionary. Some sources are speculating that the quarterback has been quietly unhappy for some time, and this altercation merely brought buried frustrations to the surface. Despite his on-field success last year, Tua has never had unanimous support from the Dolphins fan base or media. There have been questions about his durability, arm strength, and leadership from day one, and while he silenced many critics last season, the pressure has never truly subsided. Combine that with what some perceive as a lack of organizational clarity around his long-term contract situation, and you begin to understand why Tua might be feeling disrespected. If he feels the team isn't fully committed to him, this could be his way of forcing their hand. And with quarterback-needy teams always lurking, don't be surprised if conversations have already begun behind closed doors. The NFL is a business, and if Tua's camp sees an opportunity to land somewhere with more stability or appreciation, they might be eager to explore it, especially now that things have seemingly hit a breaking point in Miami. What makes this situation even murkier is the complete silence from both Tagovailoa and Hill. Neither player has addressed the incident publicly, and the Dolphins organization has issued only a vague statement emphasizing unity and focus as the team prepares for the season. But silence often speaks volumes in the NFL. When stars go quiet during controversy, it's usually a sign that negotiations or internal damage control are underway. And with training camp being one of the most media-covered periods of the offseason, the absence of both men from public interviews has raised eyebrows. Could the team be trying to buy time to smooth things over? Or are they already exploring potential trade packages behind the scenes? One thing is certain, in today's 24/7 news cycle, it won't take long for more details to emerge. And when they do, expect this story to dominate headlines across the sports world. Because if the Dolphins do lose Tua or even entertain offers, it would signal the kind of seismic shift that reshapes not just a franchise, but the entire AFC playoff picture. Of course, there's also the possibility that this is all just a misunderstanding blown out of proportion by eager media and exaggerated whispers. NFL practices are intense tempers, flair, and competitive fire can sometimes look like chaos from the outside. Maybe Tua and TYREEK simply had a bad day and cooler heads have already prevailed. But what makes this particular rumor so compelling is the sheer number of sources chiming in and the consistency in the stories being told. 2. Many insiders are reporting similar accounts of a serious verbal altercation, a walk-off, and a trade request for this to be brushed off entirely. Even if no trade materializes and the two stars remain in Miami, the damage may already be done. Rebuilding trust after such a public spat is not easy, especially when both players have massive followings and egos to match. The Dolphins coaching staff will need to act swiftly and decisively if they hope to restore unity. Otherwise, the season could be lost before the first snap. And all because two of their brightest stars couldn't find common ground when it mattered most. As we await official word, all eyes remain locked on the Dolphins facility in Davie. Will Tua Tagovailoa show up for the next practice? Will Tyreek Hill break his silence and address the rumors? Will head coach Mike McDaniel take the podium and put these whispers to bed or confirm our worst fears? Right now, everything is speculation, but where there's smoke in the NFL, there's almost always fire. Whether this is the beginning of the end for Tua in Miami or a dramatic chapter in a story that ultimately ends in reconciliation, we're witnessing a moment that could define the Dolphins' trajectory for years to come. One thing's for sure. This isn't just another preseason storyline. It's a full-blown crisis that demands answers, leadership, and clarity. And until we get those, the uncertainty will continue to swirl. Stay tuned, because if the trade request is real, and if the Dolphins choose to honor it, we could be watching the end of an era unfold right before our eyes. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan. Hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.